Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at Iren. It is time for another update, and on this chart we have been tracking this idea of a more significant wave 1 top to have formed here, a wave 2 bottom, and a follow-up wave 3 that is expected to form within this area to the upside. Now, to be clear, this is certainly one of the more fragile, one of the weaker and probably not even likely structures that we are tracking. But even if this does not succeed in forming this as a leading diagonal within a wave 1, I could still see the case where this would manage to extend higher within the same pattern within this supposed wave 3 in an ABC structure. Within the wave C, we could just as well track an impulse, we could just as well track this exact interpretation, and that is why we are at the moment focusing on this scenario, because we will have anyway, once we have a top within this structure, once we actually have a full count, an area of support for a correction in a wave 4. If we fail to hold the area of support, we would know it is a wave C. Even if I were to track instead an ABC structure and it would follow through in this interpretation, I would still need to track that area of support for continuation higher. And before we actually broke it or we got some strong clarity in terms of the structure that it is likely not going to manage to work out, I would still follow this interpretation. I would still need to consider a possible extension higher. Now, with all that said, we were following through in this interpretation that we have here in this wave 3 perfectly. We were tracking this idea of an impulse where so far we would have a 1-2-1-2 setup, a third wave up, fourth wave correction, and a fifth wave to form a larger wave 3. Yeah, we would then expect a larger correction in a wave 4 and then another fifth wave to complete the entire pattern. We would still expect further continuation upside for a while within this trend. For this, we had the area of support ever since we topped within this wave 3, all the way down to the $33.5 level. We extended perfectly into a couple of those levels. In fact, we had reactions also, the 38.2% retracement, and we have created this strong reaction to the upside. Now, this is still quite fragile. We don't have a high probability trade setup, but if we manage to follow through within the interpretations we have been outlaying within this area, we will have a very interesting position to look for, yeah? Now, of course, we are facing an area of resistance. We are already within it. We got to the 61.8% retracement, but as long as we don't break above the $64.4 level at the 78.6% retracement, there is a good chance we may still be extending within a larger correction, within a different interpretation. Perhaps this wave 4 is forming a triangle instead, and I'm not outruling that, although those are not necessarily as common as 3-wave corrections, but yeah, it is certainly a possibility. Now, in this wave 4, I wouldn't consider any further extensions unless this is a triangle. If we actually go back to the beginning of this area of support, even if we don't sustainably break it, I wouldn't expect it to manage to extend higher. We were tracking this idea of an ABC structure to unfold. It is complete. I'm not looking for further extensions within this correction, at least not for another low, yeah? Now, to the upside, within this structure, we have been looking for the potential 5-wave move. This has been a key structure we need to see complete. This is what would allow us to look for a high probability trade setup once again. Now, some of you may have already used the larger area of support here in white for entry, for a position. It seems to have been useful because those levels that were highly regarded have created significant reactions, yeah? The 38.2% retracement here, a couple of reactions, and then the 50% retracement, the stronger reaction within this area, where already we are nearly double in price from the current low that we have, yeah? 76% to the top, from the bottom to the top. Now, within this structure, I am tracking a leading diagonal at the moment, and now I would consider this to be a wave 1 up, a wave 2 down, and the third wave that could have significantly formed a top within this area. And is this the most likely scenario? Well, I wouldn't consider it necessarily the most likely, but it is a close contender because once we actually extended higher within this structure, we followed through perfectly the interpretations from the previous video. Remember, we were tracking here something like a 1, 2, 3, 4th, and the 5th, where in the 5th wave we were looking for a possible extension higher. We held the area of support and we got the extension. I can say that this could have formed a more significant top within a wave 3. We can consider this 5th wave and the wave C at the same time to be complete, and we can adjust the area of support for a wave 4 correction. In this case, we would have retraced perfectly into the 38.2% retracement before continuing higher within a 5th wave. This is very much a possible and plausible interpretation we can track within this area. Now remember, this is a large leading diagonal. We expected an ABC structure to form here. We expect also within the fifth wave to have an ABC structure to consider this pattern complete. But is this the only interpretation? It is the close contender. I cannot outrule that once we form here the ABC structure complete, we will not have a full pattern within this movement to the upside. But I am actually considering another option. I am considering that perhaps this wave 3, so it's still the same wave 3 we are tracking in the white scenario, but I'm considering a possible extension within it, where we did follow through as in the previous video, where this would be an ABC structure. Now I would still expect a possible fifth wave to form as part of this wave C, yeah? And within this structure, we did actually even push below the last level of support. We broke below the 61.8% retracement, but it wasn't a sustained break. That is very, very important. We also got into the wave 1 territory, which many may consider as a must to be able to track a diagonal structure. Now, I'm following a heuristic. I don't necessarily consider that needed to still follow the pattern, but in this case, it did follow through. If we look from a 4-hour time frame, we can see it is only a week below the last level of support. It is good enough for me to still track this as part of an extension of this larger wave 3 we have been tracking still as part of this larger leading diagonal. And there is also even another reason that I would consider this to be a preferred interpretation. Firstly, it would look better for this wave 1 to have a more clear ABC structure, yeah? We can then track this as an ABC within a wave 3, something like that, doesn't matter exactly. And then I would expect a larger correction in a wave 4 in white if it is to match this wave 2 correction. I would expect something more similar in proportions. Now, this isn't necessarily convincing me that certainly a top within the wave 3 in white couldn't be in place here, yeah? We are still tracking this white interpretation. It can certainly not be discarded, and I will consider a more significant top to possibly be in place once we actually complete this pattern. But as of now, I am telling you once again, I prefer an extension higher here. And we will track also this interpretation. We will track an additional area of support for a wave 4 correction and a fifth wave once we actually have a top within this area. And until we have a clearly full pattern and we get back into a larger area of support, I won't necessarily be looking for a high probability trade setup. Now, of course, we can still track these areas of support because they also provide indication for possible continuation higher, but also they would signal failure if they are broken significantly. Now, again, this was not a very significant break in my opinion, and that is why I'm still tracking continuation higher. Now, what can we expect further? Well, within this fifth wave, whether it is in orange or in white, I would consider this to be an ABC structure, likely complete. It could still extend higher itself, but I wouldn't necessarily be looking at that with a high probability. I would like to see something like a larger ABC structure to consider this fifth wave complete. Now again, this could be the fifth wave in orange, where we would still need afterwards a wave 4 and a fifth wave to complete the entire 5-wave move to the upside, but it could as well be a more significant top within the white scenario, and it would very much get us towards the last level of support. Remember, we don't need to follow through within this fifth wave in white. It is not a guarantee. These structures can fail, and we would form a more significant top in this case around the last level of resistance. If we manage to get a sustained break above it before forming this initial 5-wave move to the upside, it would be even a better sign. If we don't form the 5-wave structure within this area of resistance, it would be a strong signal that after having a wave 2 correction in this area, we should expect with even higher likelihood the follow-up in a wave 3. But right now, yeah, we are waiting for the signal as the areas of support, when broken, signal failure, the areas of resistance, when broken, signal success in following through in breaking the levels. Even if we initially get a large correction and head back below the area of resistance, I am interested and I will be looking for a position for a wave 2 correction. But for now, there isn't much else to add. I only want to provide you here an area of support to look for possible continuation higher. Now, keep in mind, extensions directly within this area are certainly possible. I wouldn't necessarily expect it. Yeah, it certainly looks like a complete ABC structure could be in place in this area, and then I would be using this entire wave A for support for continuation higher. Now, this applies within all interpretations basically, and I would be watching the levels of support, and let's use blue, I suppose, for more clarity. at the levels between the $54.6 all the way down to the $50.7 level. As long as we hold this area of support, we are looking still for continuation higher. So right now, I would probably prefer this correction to slightly extend, but honestly, a 3-wave pattern into the area of support, the first level is all I need to consider a possible bottom within this structure, yeah? And for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead, and until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.